Hey everyone, my name is Chloe, and today I'm here to talk about the books that I read in this last week. So this video is hopefully going to be kind of quick because I am daily vlogging for Deca TBR-a-thon, so you've probably heard me talk about all of these books in some capacity. There are a couple that I did not read for Deca TBR-a-thon, so you may hear me talk about them in a little more depth, but anyway, let's just get into it. This week has kind of been a slower week for me. I have just not really been in the mood. My brain has been kind of scrambled, and I am not one that reads like a lot. Typically I'm not one that reads a lot when I'm stressed, it's just been kind of a crazy week. So I'm going to talk about the middle grade, and then I read 2 graphic novels, and then I'll talk about the adults. So I will try to timestamp those down below. If I forget, let me know. But first is Shay and Emmy's star in Breaking Egg. This is a trilogy by Quilvin Janae Wallace, who was the star in Annie. And this is about 2 friends who are in this performing arts school, and a new girl comes in who has had a film role before, so there's some jealousy. They also have to work together. I wanted to read this first book to see if it was appropriate for my daughter to read the trilogy. It was. She did. It was great. It was fine. Then we have That Girl Lele, Talent Showdown. So ironically, this one is kind of similar in the fact that it's about like show business in young kids. And this is about, I guess this is a show on Nickelodeon. I don't know anything about it, but this is about a girl named Lele who becomes a famous rapper, but also wants to maintain her normal like middle school or high school or elementary school life. And so there's a talent show at her school, and she really wants to participate with her 4 friends, but she's really trying to juggle like now her professional career as well as her like normal kid career or life, and the struggle to find that balance. So it was good. This one's definitely longer, more in depth. It was fine. Then I think that's it for middle grade. So the 2 graphic novels I read, one I would say is heavy middle grade, so like maybe late middle grade. This is The Girl Who Sang by Estelle Nadel. So this is about a Jewish Polish girl and her time during World War II. This is really heavy. The first half, I would say, is like just really, really, really heavy. Some of the images are heavy. Of course, the content is heavy. There's a lot of loss, a lot of grief, as you might expect from this. So it is a middle grade because it's about, she's like a 9-10-year-old girl and it's her perspective. But I would definitely be wary of who picks this up. I did like the art style, and I thought it did a really good job. So there's that. Then we have They Called Us Enemy by George Takei. So this is another World War II graphic novel told from a kid's perspective somewhat, but I would say this one is probably more adult, because my problem with this book is not like it's an important topic, and the first third to half of it, I would say, is really emotionally impactful because it is their experience as Japanese people in the United States being sent to internment camps and the way they were treated during World War II shortly after the bombing of Pearl Harbor. And George Takei was a young boy at that time. And so it's told through his perspective, and it's told, just like kind of the resiliency of kids and just how amazing that is. And also how like he's writing this clearly as an adult, looking back in retrospect and saying like how stressful that must have been for his parents. And I just can't even imagine. However, then the second half of this book, it goes so fast because it goes all the way up into present day and him going back to different memorials and presidential houses and stuff, and his perspective, his career on Star Trek, all that kind of stuff. And it kind of got a little textbooky, and in a way it lost its emotional connection. And so this was okay for me. Not the greatest thing I've ever read, but it got me thinking more about just the atrocities that happened here in America, and how crazy it all was and how horrible it was, and just how resilient kids are. And yeah, it was really good and important, but the timeline got a little weird. Then my adult books. So I read 4. However, I only have 3. So first I read A Week at the Shore by Barbara Delinsky, and you guys, I'm not even kidding. I remember very little of this, and I read this a week ago. So this is about a woman and her daughter who go back to her hometown because her dad was involved in a family scandal many, many years ago, like when she was a teenager, in which her boyfriend's mom went missing. and is presumed to have drowned. And so she goes back because now her dad is kind of senile and maybe has some weapons. We're not sure if he's dangerous. We're not sure if he's a danger to himself. What is going on? Her sister, she has 2 sisters, so there's 3 girls, but one is a caretaker and the other is off doing her own thing. And so she kind of needs some help. So she goes back, even though the sisters are estranged. And of course, she goes back because her ex-boyfriend is the one who kind of alerts her. So there's some animosity between them, some hard times, but of course their romance. This book was just really weird about the way it revealed things. Like, it took a really long time to even understand what this scandal was, like what happened years ago. I didn't love the relationship between the people because we didn't really get to see any of the before. So like all we see is the animosity, which turns quickly to love. And I don't know, I didn't love this. Then I read This Used to Be Us by Renee Carlino. So I love Renee Carlino, and this is a marriage and trouble story about a couple who has like teenage kids, I think. And they're just on the brink of divorce. They have been through really hard times together. They've experienced loss together. Instead of letting it pull them together, it kind of drove them apart, as well as like the normal life things and little resentments that turn into big resentments. And so now they're divorced, but they can't really let each other go. And one of them starts dating. And so instantly I'm like, ew, you're like, ew, slow your roll. So there was a little bit of that, and honestly, I just never felt super emotionally invested in the couple. And then at the end, there's like kind of a sucker punch just to get you emotionally invested. So not her best. I would say maybe 3.5 stars for me. I still enjoyed the experience, and marriage and trouble books are something that I feel like I don't read enough of. I wish there was a little more of it, but there's that. Then I finished my devotional, which is, well, it's not a devotional, actually. It's my Bible study book, Risen Motherhood, by Emily Jensen and Laura Weifler. And so, you guys, this is a testament to what a cheapskate I am, because I read this book on audio by myself, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is really good. This would be really great to chat about. And so I got some friends together. We made a Bible study, and I wanted to have the physical book. And so I get on Thrift Books and everywhere else. I think I paid $9 for this book, and now it is like all my friends got it brand new on Amazon for like 10 or 11, and like all my letters are worn off. There's tons of writing in this that isn't mine. And so I saved $1 or $2 and got a less than ideal book. But this is from the 2 women who have the Risen Motherhood podcast. And let's see if I can give you the chapter titles, because it's all about like what God says about motherhood and what his design for motherhood is. And the basic structure is what it was like in creation, what it's like in the fall, after the fall, and then what it will be like when Jesus returns. And so, we have part 1 is why does the gospel and motherhood matter in motherhood? And then part 2 is gospel hope for the everyday moments of motherhood. So we have our hard attitudes, our transitions, our marriages, our mundane moments, birth experiences, postpartum body image, food choices, relationships, traditions, Christian community, service, self-care, children with differences, and schooling choices. And so I really enjoyed this, every chapter has like discussion questions at the end. So these would be great to read alone and journal about, or read with a group, or however you consume it. I thought it was really interesting, and it was a really fun thing to do as a Bible study. So highly recommend. It's not a 5-star for me, but I would say it's a strong 4-star. Some of the chapters kind of either I'm just not in a place to like receive those messages, or it felt a little bit like overly preachy, or overly like ideal, and it kind of lost touch of real life, and it didn't necessarily respect the heart of the I don't know. There were a couple chapters that just weren't great, but the rest were really good. And then last is Middle of the Night by Riley Sager. So this is about, it is about Ethan, who goes back to his home cul-de-sac. He goes back to his parents' house, and he has not been back. It's been 30 years since he and his best friend were like 10 years old, camping in a tent in their backyard. He woke up, the tent was slashed, his best friend was gone, and his best friend has been missing since. So he goes back, and things kind of start to seem creepy, and maybe there's the presence of his best friend or something. There is definitely some supernatural elements in this. However, I really liked where the book went and how it all played out. The supernatural elements were not overdone for me, and this is the first time that Riley Sager, I think, has had a male main character, and I was like, oh gosh, I love female characters, so I didn't know that I would love it, but I honestly really enjoyed this book. There were times, like, it's kind of slower to get into. There were some times in the middle that kind of lagged, but by the end, it was like bang after bang after bang, and it was like, whoa, this was a really clever, well told, entertaining story. I know this is getting mixed reviews, but for me, it's a 4-star. I really enjoyed it. So that is everything that I read this last week. What did you read? This week, I'm hoping I'm like close to finishing. It's Saturday, so these wrap-ups go Saturday to Friday, and so I'm hoping I can finish the 2 books that I'm in the middle of, like today or tomorrow, and then like get rejuvenated to go back into the week, because I've just been a little, like, not slumpy necessarily, just not overly ready. So I don't know. Let me know how your week was. We'll see you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching.